Are you thinking about starting a GLP-1 medication like Ozempic, Wegovy, Zepbound, Manjaro? I want to give you everything that you need to know in this beginner's guide. I'll cover what GLP-1s are, how they work in the body, where to get them, and what you can expect in the first few weeks, including some of the things that nobody tells you. I'm Anna, registered dietitian, GLP-1 user, and I have been on a GLP-1 medication on and off for over 2 years. And I want to create quality content for you so you can feel confident on your GLP-1 journey and get the results that you are looking for. And I'll also at the end link you to some of my other videos on side effects, injection sites, meal planning, and everything you want to eat. And if there's anything I haven't covered yet, make sure to leave it in the comments because I'm working on creating new content just for you. And if you want a written guide for how to eat on your GLP-1 journey, manage your side effects, everything you need to know about this journey, you're going to want to check out my Beyond the Shot guide, which I will link in the comments below. And that is your everything you need to know guide for how to be successful on these life-changing medications. So let's start from the very beginning. What is a GLP-1? So GLP-1 stands for glucagon-like peptide 1, and it's a hormone that your body makes naturally after you eat. The job of this hormone is to tell you to stop eating, basically tells your brain you're full, slow down digestion, and helps regulate blood sugar. And so GLP-1 medications, they have the same effect when you take them as your natural GLP-1. So while the GLP-1 medication is a synthetic form of GLP-1, it still mimics the natural hormones in your body. So you're not really putting something like totally foreign into your body. You are supporting something that you already have naturally. So there's some misinformation that you are injecting lizard venom into your body when you use a GLP-1, and that is not true. The extended life GLP-1 was found in the tongue of a Gila lizard, and then they figured out how to make it a synthetic version. So you are not injecting liver spit into your body, okay? So it's like a synthetic version that they figured out the chemical structure from the spit of that lizard. So the drugs were originally developed for type 2 diabetes because they noticed that this GLP-1 really helped control blood sugar. But as people started using it for diabetes, they also lost enormous amounts of weight. And that's when the drug companies decided to try to get it approved for obesity. But I want you to know, like, there's some misinformation in that GLP-1 is just about, oh, you just eat less. Like, it just makes you eat less. It's actually not true. We've had on the market a lot of other appetite suppressants in the past, drugs like phentermine, and even there was one called Plenity that was supposed to make you feel full. But these drugs did not work in the same way that this GLP-1 medication does. You may have tried some of those before. It actually changes the pathways in your brain that controls pleasure and hunger and how food feels as a reward, controls something called food noise, which is like constant obsessive thoughts about what you're going to eat. So the appetite suppression is like one part of it. Yes, you do eat less, but it actually is like bigger physiological changes than that. It also helps reduce inflammation in the body, which helps benefit your heart, your metabolism, and even your brain health. And finally, it supports better blood sugar so that you are able to lose weight, because when you're having those like ups and down crashes of insulin and spikes and ups and downs all the time, makes it really difficult for your body to shed weight. So it does that as well. So those are kind of the main effects: slows digestion, regulates your appetite, changes brain pathways, controls your blood sugar, and helps reduce inflammation. So this can kind of help you, really address several different factors of obesity so that it's easier for you to implement some of those healthy lifestyle changes. So there's also ongoing research going on that some of the anti-inflammatory benefits may help support long-term health and reduce risks of cardiovascular disease and other types of chronic diseases. So it's really just much more than just an appetite suppressant. So where do you get your GLP-1? The best place to go for your GLP-1 medication is your primary care provider or an obesity doctor or your endocrinologist, a doctor that you personally see and knows your medical history. You need a prescription to get the medication. You cannot get this medication without some type of prescription or involvement with a healthcare provider. If you are able to get it, you are probably not getting it from a legitimate source. So you really want to be sure you're getting it from a legitimate source if possible. Sometimes insurance does not cover it. So you may need to look into other options that offer direct to patient. So Lilly Direct will sell it direct to patients. So you don't have to go through insurance, but you still need a prescription. You cannot just purchase it from Lilly Direct without a prescription. There are also many telehealth companies that do offer it, but they require an online consultation and you need a prescription. So go somewhere where they run labs, where they ask about your health history, or possibly there's a registered dietitian on staff that you can talk to and have support there. There are a lot of places offering counterfeit or kind of legal gray area medications, and that is not what you want to go for. That is a bad idea. You don't know where they're coming from, and you really want to go through a legitimate source as much as possible. So let's say you get the medication. What do you do? What can you expect? There seems to be a lot of anxiety around taking it. And I think that's partially because the media has a lot of very dramatic headlines that you're going to die from it and all of this stuff. And none of that is accurate. So what you can expect. It is rare that people have significant horrific side effects with the first dose. So you start typically on the lowest dose, depends which medication you're on, and then you'll taper it up based on what your provider thinks every 4 weeks, or maybe less often. It really just depends. So on that first dose, sometimes people start noticing that their appetite is lower, but sometimes it takes time for the medication to build up in your system. So some people lose weight the first month, and some people don't lose any weight at all until they get to the next dose. Personally, I lost 5 pounds on the lowest dose, and that was pretty consistent. There wasn't any dose where I lost more than 5 pounds a month, which was the right amount for me. You may feel a few mild side effects. It's usually just some kind of mild nausea, not really wanting to eat. Constipation is common, fatigue, or headaches. Some of this is related to not eating enough, not drinking enough water, and not eating enough fiber. A lot of people are very, very focused on protein, and they end up not eating enough fiber, and that's what leads to the constipation. So a few things you can do is eat smaller meals. Make sure you're having a balanced meal that has protein and fiber included. Avoid really high fat, greasy foods at first. This will depend on your individual tolerance. For me, there really isn't any food that I have found that is off limits while I've been on this medication. I pretty much eat whatever I want, with a focus on protein. And then be sure to stay hydrated. So I always have my handy water nearby. I fill this guy up at least 4 times a day and try to be sure I get enough water. If you have strong nausea, you want to just try to eat more bland foods that aren't too spicy. And if it gets really bad, then you want to speak to your doctor about that. And you can watch this video about side effects so you can get more information if you're really struggling with that. And so the first few weeks, people get really, really frustrated about weight loss, and you may not lose any weight the first few weeks, and that is completely normal. There is nothing wrong with you. You are not doing anything wrong. You may need to go up to a higher dose before you start seeing weight loss. If you want to understand more about how weight loss works, you're going to want to watch this other video that will give you all the information about what to expect, how quickly you should lose weight, that kind of thing. So the way to set yourself up for success on this medication, first of all, I recommend not listening to the media, not reading those crazy headlines, not stressing out about it. Speak to your doctor who can give you information about what's best for you. Before you start, make sure you have high protein options available. I really like pre-made protein shakes. The Fairlife ones are my favorite at the moment, but any protein that works for you is great. Try to eat at least 3 meals a day, even if it's something small. Do not skip meals. You need nutrition to stay healthy and to actually lose weight more effectively. So skipping meals can make you feel more tired, can make nausea worse. So you really want to at least try to eat something at each meal. And then be sure to drink enough water and eat high fiber foods. If you need a supplement, then you need a supplement. Try to start incorporating exercise as soon as possible, particularly strength training. If you lose weight very quickly, you can lose muscle mass. So you really want to try to strength train as much as possible to prevent that, at least 2 or 3 days a week. And then make sure you're tracking your progress. Sometimes we think, oh, I haven't really lost this week. And then we look back and you see that maybe you did lose a half a pound or that kind of thing. Recommend weighing in just once a week and tracking that weight consistently. First thing in the morning with no clothes on or the same clothes on is the best way to weigh yourself. So if you're starting on this journey, I have a lot of videos in this playlist that can help you get started and learn what you need to know. And be sure that you also check out the Beyond the Shot guide. It's like your total roadmap for everything that you need to know on GLP-1 from day one to long-term success, making sure you're getting the nutrition you need, making sure you're managing your side effects correctly, and all of that. And so I want you to understand that GLP-1s can be life-changing, but they really work best when you have a good understanding of how they work, that they're not a miracle, they're not magic, and they, do still take some effort. So if you want to continue to learn more about your GLP-1 journey, make sure you subscribe and like this channel, and I'll see you in the next video.